I'm Isabel Fry. I am the Executive Director of the Social Policy Initiative based here in Johannesburg, South Africa.
My name is Thando Lukuko. I am the Director and Coordinator of Climate Action Network South Africa, or SACAN for short.
Okay, hi, my name is Nathan Taylor and I am a coordinator at Pay the Grants. We focus on social protection and communities' access to the social protection they deserve and need.
We've just come out of 2 days of a really exciting kick-off workshop with the C20, which is civil society grouping ahead of the G20, which South Africa is going to host next year.
Why is G20 even relevant? Because when we talk about effective social protection and talking about effective social investment, we are talking about investment to your country, into your people. What do we not have in today's age? A lack of austerity, a willingness to actually invest in the economy for people. And where you see G20, you have corporate interests coming together to decide what the world should look like without you, where this is a time, this is a space, this is a platform where you can push for reformations in the global tax system, and you can push for a wealth tax. We cannot do it by ourselves as South Africa. No country can do a wealth tax by itself. But the wealthy do need to pay a tax because we do need a world that is actually for the people that live in it. G20 is a platform to push these agendas.
I'm Huda Abraham Speaker and I'm the National Advocacy Manager at the Black Sack. We were very excited to attend this workshop on the kick-off for the G20 and what this would mean for civil society organizations and understand how the C20 works. This is particularly important in addressing the challenge of unemployment, poverty and inequality. Black Sack specifically is working towards a universal basic income grant, where we chair a campaign called the Universal Basic Income Coalition.
Hi, my name is Catherine Miffel. I'm a Policy and Partnerships Assistant at the African Forum and Network on Data Development. It's a Pan-African organization based in Zimbabwe. South Africa has already outlined some of the issues that they want to put forward within the G20 in the 1 year. Out of that is reform of the global financial architecture. This means reforming international financial institutions that are responsible for development financing. As it is right now, many African countries are in either debt distress or at high risk of debt distress. And that means the level of the financing gap that they have is limited because they're spending more on debt servicing than on social sector spending, such as education and health. And within the G20, they have the power, or they do have the influencing power in determining development financing agenda or processes.
The point about social protection came up time and time again, and it's really rewarding. We work on social protection. We're part of a campaign for universal basic income, and a lot of our research publications have looked into the affordability of universal basic income, to the point that we are able to demonstrate that it's 96% self-financing in South Africa, a decent universal basic income, and being able to share that information and knowledge with people who hadn't necessarily seen the link between well-being, a decent standard of living, and social security in the form of universal basic income. So it was awesome to speak to people in other sectors, such as climate justice, tax justice, women's networks, and to be able to share our priorities as we learned about hers.
I think social protection is important to be included in the just transition, specifically to protect those families that have been impacted from the move away from coal-fired power stations primarily. There are people who are dependent on those incomes. And so what happens when people lose their jobs and are no longer able to feed their families? And so trying to find the best way in which people can be protected to be able to feed themselves, to live, to pay for water, electricity, and so on, I think is absolutely critical, especially if we continue with the notion of leaving no one behind. Climate change in itself has negatively impacted many communities, many families. The just transition, if it's not done with people's interests at heart, will do more damage, I think, with what climate can, because it's more man-made. And so social protection is necessary, just to make sure that those who are going to be displaced have some form of comfort, even if it might not cover all of their living expenses, but certainly to some degree, so that they can be able to wake up tomorrow and still live to fight another day.
Now, we know that in the National Development Plan, they make reference to a social protection floor, but what is the definition of the social protection floor? So hopefully our organization plans to engage with civil society, bring key stakeholders together, and together work on understanding what the definition of a social protection floor is, to identify what are priority areas for government to work on, so that people can live with dignity, with a decent standard of living that they should be able to have access to by government.
So I'm really excited about 2025. I think that the South African government is committed to using this opportunity to advance the global call for universal social protection, and we'll be there ensuring they do if that message is not loud enough.